plus in the lumia of the vesicle, inside the vesicle. So inside the vesicle, the SSV, you have a pH of 5. Then you have another transporter using this pH gradient and transporting either monoamine, so you have dopamine, non-amine, concentrated via the vesicular monoamine transporter. You have a specific transporter for GABA and also a specific transporter for glutamate. So it costs energy, and the concentration can go to 100 millimolar to molar concentration. So this is extremely concentrated. And in fact, it costs in energy. You need ATP anyway to concentrate H plus in the vesicle, but maybe less compared to the state of at least monoamines or the GABA and glutamate inside the cytosol, because they would be destroyed. So the environment and the acidic pH in vesicles is also safe for neurotransmitters. So release. So classically, I think you all know that neurons can have some action potentials. We can measure them. I mean, for the giant axon of Kalmar, or I don't remember the name. Anyway, we can measure the action potentials in the axon, but usually we can't because the axons are too thin. So we measure eventually at the level of cell body, and we can also do extracellular single cell recording. So we can measure the action potential, but it does not tell you what is going on for release, because release of neurotransmitters, this is not the electricity, this is chemistry and the entry of the raise of calcium concentration in the cytosol. That's it. At the origin of exocytosis. The reason why, if you measure the activity of the electrical activity of the cell, it does not exactly tell you what is going on at the end. So because exocytosis relies on the raise of calcium in the cytosol. It comes from, and usually it comes from calcic voltage dependent receptors, transporters, I mean, such as those written there, LNPQR channels. I think there are T also. So a lot of calcium channels. And this is extremely efficacious to increase, at least locally, the concentration of calcium and then promote exocytosis. But without electrical activity, you can also promote exocytosis simply by raising the concentration of calcium from organelles such as mitochondria having calcium and capable of releasing calcium. So without action potential, you can release calcium. And think about also in the retina. In the retina, photoreceptors do not have action potentials, as far as I know. But they have modification um, of the membrane potential, which is sufficient to modulate the release of the neurotransmitter simply by playing on some channels and playing on the membrane potential. So the release is not necessarily associated with action potential. The release is more related to the entry of calcium inside the cytosol. And there is also a difference no, for classical and neuropeptides, they share this way of releasing classical exocytosis. Maybe there are some difference in the sensitivity because you have some calcic sensitive protein that could be different between SSV and large core dense vesicles. And so maybe we could have some differences in sensitivity. But this is not always very clear. But there is a main difference is that we can have a release of classical neurotransmitter without calcium, and this is called non-exocytotic release, which is not possible with neuropeptides. So I will explain the non-exocytotic release later. So now we have a terminal containing a classical neurotransmitter and several peptides contained in the large dense vesicle. And this is the purpose of this drawing. This is only hypothesis and hypothesis from 1985. So this is quite old. Not sure we went further. I think we could imagine a little bit more, but okay, here is one hypothesis so that you can have an idea about this combined action of two neurotransmitters. So it shows of a fiber at low frequency and of stimulation of